All right, welcome to another episode of Shave and a Haircut. I'm your host, Kenneth Tramble. Today's topic is something that I've been talking about for probably for the last 2, 3. Probably going to stay on this topic for a little while to try to get some insight from some youth, from some parents, from the public, from people, and just to understand, help understand our youth. And the topic of what I'm talking about is why our kids will not talk to our parents. Saturday had the privilege of doing a speaking engagement for a young lady at Jack Hayes at her location, and it was kids we was talking about. We was talking about life in general, and then I started asking the question, why is it hard for you to talk to your parents? Why can't you relate your problems to your parents? And then the kids were very energetic. They answered all the questions, but the main thing they kept saying was that mom and dad don't understand. Or they wouldn't understand my problem. They wouldn't understand my issues. They wouldn't understand why I feel or behave this way. So I asked, I asked the kid, well, what do you mean? Why have you talked to your parent and relay these issues? And she just kept saying she wouldn't understand. And so the mom was in there at the same time. And so the mom said that sometimes it's her delivery to her child that that makes the child shut down, quote unquote, and don't want to ask her anything else because for one, mom's gonna get mad. For two, mom's gonna start yelling. For three, mom is gonna get out of her character. And so that's why that was this was the mom saying this. She was saying she can admit that she sometimes blow it out of proportion and get to the point where it's some yelling. And she says maybe some profanity being said, and it causes the child to shut down. So that was a good section. That was a good session because that mom realized the problem that she had. Realized that technically she was the problem for her child, and so it stuck to my mind and stuck to my heart that the kids these days are not like us, like we were when we were growing up. And I'm pretty sure people can relate to that. They're more timid. They don't do as much as we do. They don't get out as much as we do. We did. I mean, they're not as curious as much as we were. They didn't do a lot. They just right now these kids now they're gamers. They got the cell phone. They're social media people. They're just like in house folks. They're not it. I can't go outside and see kids playing like we played in the street. Like right now with that wind blowing. When I was a kid, I was talking to my brother the other day. We were flying kites. I mean, we would go and buy kites and put 3 or 4 of them in the air and stick them in the ground and sit down and watch them fly. We would go out there and play basketball in the streets. I don't see none of that hobbies being like that. Basketball. We can play football in the street, and it's totally different type of child. And so we got to treat our kids totally different than when we got treated. And I was telling the parent, like back in the days when mom used to yell at us and call us crazy, sit yourself down, crazy yourself down. We didn't pay it no mind. It didn't bother us. Just mama being mama. Now these kids think, especially at the rate of suicide for our kids, it's more. I'll say, if I was a parent these days now, the language that my mom used, I wouldn't use because all these kids need is out to say you don't care, and then they do something tragic to themselves. They hurt themselves or spaz out of school or just do stuff that you don't think your child would ever do. And so, one reason that our kids don't talk to us is they don't want to overwhelm or worry you. Teens can be very intuitive, even when it seems like they aren't paying attention, and know when you're already at your limit. They don't want to add anything else to your plate, so they keep things inside of them, out of harm's way. That sounds like a typical kid. They don't. want to add anything else to your plate. So they keep things inside or act like them are out or act like them is out of harmful ways. So I, that's just about every kid I've met. They've gotten to the point where they've seen you throughout the day, and they know how you are, and they know how stressful working is, and they're saying that that's one of the reasons why that they don't talk to you. Another one is they don't want you to fix it. When your child was in elementary school, maybe it was okay for you to talk to that teacher, or friends, or parents. Now they're in high school. No way. Not only do they don't want you to, they don't. Not only do they think you can't fix it, but they don't want you fighting their battle. Hmm. Let's read that again. Not only do they think you can't fix it, but they don't want you fighting their battle. Well, I mean, if it's got something to do with some type of school work or school environment, I could see it. I could see you not. Yeah, I mean, if something going on that you think you can handle, but you always supposed to keep your parent informed because if something happens, how can they help you in the long run? So you don't want your parents to get into it to fix your battles, but then when something happens, they're gonna say, "Did you talk to your parent?" If you didn't talk to your parent, how they gonna know what's going on in your life? And this is the biggest one that I've heard on several sessions. They don't want you to get mad. Teens know that teens know what kind of behavior you won't tolerate, and they don't want to be the ones to tell you they did something you won't like or agree with. They don't want to be the ones to tell you they did something you won't like or agree with. And we hold our kids these days on a higher level or platform. At least most of the parents I've talked with, you put your kids on that pedal and put them on that high pedal, and you expect them to do this, you expect them to do that, and they're supposed to do, and they're supposed to do that, and you end up having a child so much pressure on the child that he or she just can't handle it. And so we as parents, we got high expectations. A lot of people I know, they set the bar high for their kids. They do, and that's not a problem setting the bar high. But if they can't reach that bar, don't pull it down a little bit. You know, you might have it up here, and they ain't making it. Kind of bring it down a little bit so they can accept. I know everybody wants to. You want your child to go to college. You want your child first. You want them to graduate high school. Then you want them to go to college. Then you want them to get a job. Then you want them to get a house. Then you want them to get married. All that is doable, but let the kid be the kid first. And if something's going on, just ask questions. Like I told people Saturday, you got to be the nosest parent in town. Hey, how was your day? Anything happened that we need to talk about? How are you feeling? Anything going on we need to talk about? Anything going on with you? Can I talk to you about it? You have to do these things. You have to be nosy, you have to be inquisitive. You have to sit and talk and make sure that your kids understand that they can call you anytime they want to. And in these days, apparently these kids, then the last one is the most crucial one that I heard every time I had maybe 4 to 5 sessions. And this was the number one thing that every kid said. They don't understand. They don't understand me. They wouldn't understand how I feel. And I tell the kids, you act like we just turned to an adults, and everything happened to y'all, it happened to us. And like I told them, I said, y'all are doing everything that we did. It's just cool now. We couldn't wear these glasses like this. You get called 4 eye. You couldn't flood. Couldn't wear bell bottom. You couldn't wear tight leg jeans. You couldn't wear skinny jeans. Everything they're doing now wasn't cool when we was growing up, but it's cool now. So all it is a repetition. Everything's repeating itself. So there's nothing a parent hadn't seen or heard or been a part of that you can't tell your parent. You got to put that in your mind. You might get to yelling for about 10, 15, 20 minutes, but parents, once you do that, you got to learn how to, you know, once you get up there, you got to learn how to bring it down. Now that you got all your stuff out, okay, let's figure out how we can fix this. Let's figure out what we need to do to make this right. Don't in the good words, some people I knew back in the day, don't chew your cabbage twice. That means don't keep talking about it. Don't keep nagging. Don't keep bringing it up. You remember when this here? That's not gonna do us no good. Once you got up to that level as a parent, and you didn't got up high enough, and you didn't got there, and you didn't got intense with your child. Now it's time to level it down. Start talking. Start explaining. Okay, this is why I said what I said. This is why I may not have said it in the right way in these words, but mom was upset, dad was upset. Now it's time for me to tell you as a mom and a dad what I was thinking when I said it. By you doing blank, this caused blank to happen. By you saying blank, this caused blank to happen. By you acting out and doing whatever in school, it caused this to happen. And so that creates rapport with you and your child, where your child will come home and tell you, well, look, I was at school today and such said this, said that, and it made me feel this way. Okay, well, let's analyze this, how it went, and can we fix it as parents? So all we have to do as parents is think about, these are not us that we're raising. These are new generational kids. They think differently, they walk differently, they talk differently, they feel differently. Their emotions are totally different. Uh, it's way, way different than us. You can't say, excuse me, excuse me, you can't say what you would say, what you would have said to you when you was growing up. You can't say it. We know it. Mama used to, used to call us all kinds of crazy stuff. Sit your crazy stuff down, all kinds of stuff. But we paid it no mind because that was just mama being mama. But now that we're moms and dads, we can't be like mom and dad was that raised us. We got to be a little bit more timid with our kids. We got to be a little bit more compassionate with our kids. We got to be a little bit more caring because they're looking at other generations. They might see other kids and the way they're behaving, and they're wondering why their mom and dad is acting like this. And my mom and dad always spaz out when I try to talk to them about something. You can't spaz out no more. We got to start making our kids understand that they can come to us for anything. Not showing our kids they come to us for anything. No matter what it is, they come to us for anything. And that's one of the issues that we're having as parents and as kids. Kids won't talk to you. And parents, when you get to talking, you're not talking, you're yelling. And I understand it might be an upsetting moment, and it's maybe a time for you to yell, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's time for you to start, toning it down, analyzing what went on, and trying to fix the problem. So these sessions I'm gonna start doing won't be no more than 15 minutes long. I'm gonna continue harping on stuff, and I'm gonna try to keep everybody in tune on what's going on. I want feedback from parents when they see this recording. I want feedback from parents. I want you to talk to your kids and ask them, if something happens, will you talk to me? And if they don't talk to you, you need to have a seat and have a conversation with them and see what's going on and see can everything be fixed. Okay. This has been Shave and a Haircut. I am your host, Kenneth Tramble. Like I always say, quit yelling at your kids at night. Hoping them to sleep well. Quit yelling at your kids in the morning time. Hoping they'll do right in school. Speak love. Speak success. Speak loyalty. Speak discipline. At the end of the day, listen to your kids. Love you guys.